Hello designers, and welcome to lesson 2 of the Design With Me series. Grab a coffee, grab your notebook, grab some markers, colored pencils, whatever your mode of coloring is, because today we are going to learn how to build a color story for your collection. So in last week's lesson, just a quick recap, we discussed how to find an inspiration for your collection. So we looked through my history of fashion book, we looked through magazines, we looked on the computer, and we ended up discovering quite a unique source of inspiration, and that was the Manchu Qing dynasty. I'm gonna put here what our mood board ended up looking like. Remember, this is just step 1 of the mood board. So now we're on to step 2 of the mood board, which is going to be adding colors that go with this inspiration. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, there are 4 key things that you need to think about when you are ready to start the color story of your collection. So I'm going to list these one by one. Number 1 is, what season are you designing for? Number 2, what are the color trends that are kind of online and that will be popular in the season that you are going to be designing for? Number 3 is, what is your brand aesthetic? And number 4 is, what does your market want? Now, I will answer every one of those 4 questions one by one, and then we will get into the demo part of the video. So number 1, what season are we designing for? As I said last time, we are designing for spring summer 2020. So spring summer, of course, means the colors are usually tend to be brighter, lighter, more, of course, summery, spring. These are fresh colors. This is the season where you can go kind of crazy with color. If we were designing for fall winter, you would kind of go for more wintry colors, more grays, more neutrals, more darker shades. That's just the general way the colors are broken up season by season. But of course you can in the end do whatever you like. But generally for spring summer, we will stick to lighter, brighter colors. The answer to question number 2, to check out color trends that are, predicted for the season, so spring summer 2020. I usually look online for these trend reports regarding color. I look on Pinterest because the other websites where you can find full-on color reports, those usually require pretty expensive monthly subscriptions. So I prefer to just refer to Pinterest for this kind of thing. I look at the trend reports. I'm gonna put up some examples of trend reports here for color for spring summer 2020. Generally, I just look at these reports just for my information. I'm just seeing what tones people are considering will be trending next year, and then I can make my own judgment. I don't follow these reports to a T, because my number 1 thing is I get confused when I look at these color trend reports, because I'm like, it looks like every color is on trend. There's an orange on trend, there's a red on trend, there's a yellow, there's a green, there's a blue, there's a purple. Of course, it's the shades of these colors that are on trend. But to me, this step 4 of the color story, to look at these trend reports, it's just for your information. It's just for you to see what is out there. Of course, every year, Pantone, this is, for example, a Pantone color book. Okay, so Pantone is kind of the universal reference for colors, and every year Pantone chooses one color to be the color of the year. So in 2018, this was the color of the year. 2019, it was this one. I think it's not burning coral. It's a coral color. It was living coral, yeah. So living coral was the Pantone color for this year. Now it's up to you if you want to use that color in your collections or not, but that's, again, just so we are aware of what's on trend and what's popular for the year. You don't want to go in completely blind, but you don't need to stick to these things as a rule. So number 3 is, what is your brand aesthetic? Now, I know many of you watching might be beginners and this might be your first collection, so you don't really have your brand aesthetic worked out. For me, I know that my brand aesthetic is a fusion between Indian and Middle Eastern culture. So usually my collections tend to be quite colorful. So I never really do a monotone collection where it's all shades of like grays or nudes or something. I usually have many different colors. So that's my brand aesthetic. So when I go into making a color story, I know that I'm going to have multiple colors. For you, if you're starting out, you can just start to think about what colors you like and what colors you're drawn to, because at the end of the day, your brand is a reflection of you and your vision. So of course you need to think along these lines when you are creating your color story. And number 4 is, what does your market want? Again, if you are just starting off, you might not have all the information to answer this question, but you can look at your peers, look around you, see what colors people are wearing on the occasion that you want to design for. If you're designing a casual wear collection, you can go around Doha, you can see what people are wearing on a daily basis, and just take in that information. Me, from my customer history, I know that there are some colors that sell very well and some colors that don't. For example, I sell out of nudes, navies, grays, neutral colors a lot faster than I sell out of statement bold colors. I also, black can be a hit and miss. Sometimes people want black, sometimes people don't want black, they want something different from me. Ivory, for example, is always a quick seller. Nude is always a quick seller. So these kind of things are just things I'm keeping in mind so that I'm designing for my customer at the end of the day. So of course it's about my brand, but it's also about what they want and what they are looking for. So that's how you have to kind of balance and think of things. But of course, as a beginner, you can just observe your peers, observe who you think your customer could be, and see what kind of colors they might be into. So now I think we are ready to start exploring the colors. So we are going to need paper, markers, colored pencils, whatever you have at home in terms of coloring, just so we can do an exercise of extracting colors from a picture or your inspiration board. Okay guys, so I have my mood board printed here, and I also have my mood board on my iPad, so I can really zoom in and see what colors I want to draw out of our mood board. So if you remember, this is the inspiration we found from the Manchu Qing dynasty. Of course, it is from China, so the colors are very rich. There's a lot of color tones. I always keep going back to this picture, even if you saw from the last lesson. I am loving the colors in this robe here, the pink and the magenta and the blue. There is a lot of blue, like navy rich blues with yellow. So there is so much to play with. So I have just pulled a couple of markers that I think we can draw, colors from. And let's begin. So I'm gonna keep the printed mood board to the side because I'm referring to the iPad mainly, so that I can really get up close with these pictures. So let's start with this picture first. What colors are we looking at? We are looking at so I'm gonna start just making swatches on this based on the colors that I'm liking from the picture. So there's a very nice ooh, rich blue color that I like. This peach coral I'm really liking. This might be a bit too orange, but let's see what other peaches I may have. So this stage is kind of just developing like what you are liking, what you are extracting from the inspiration. So again, nothing is for sure. We don't know the exact tone yet, but you're building. We can see there are 3 tones of peach here. This one is more pinky. I might like that one, but let's see. I have another more ooh, that's too baby pink. We're going away from what we want now. But okay. There's also other shades of blue here. If you can see in this pattern, sorry, in here. So there is light blue, dark blue, navy blue. So I think I do want some more shades of blue in here. Do I have anything else? This one, oops. Okay, very similar to what I have. Okay. What else? There is like a nude flesh tone color. I don't really have that in a marker, so I might pull something from my colored pencils. Let's see. That is again to peach. Better, more like fleshier tone here. Okay. Now, let's see what else is interesting. I wanted to take something from here. I hope you guys can see that. Again, I feel like I've covered it with these pinks. So the good thing about this is I'm already noticing some colors are repeating, so I'm able to stick to a cohesive look. Maybe if I want to include this like magenta shade, if it's not showing up right now on my iPad, I'll just insert a picture here. So you can see the magenta and the flowers in her hair. So I might add that onto our color story. Ooh, I like that. Let me show you guys so far. So this is the color story so far. I think it's interesting. I like it. Okay. So I pulled the magenta from here. In this picture, I've covered the pink. There's a little bit of a turquoise blue here. That might be nice. Let's see if I have something. We'll add it here under the blue. Okay. Let's see what else there is. I'm worried about going this orange for the collection. We can put it in there. I have like this coral color, matches my nails. Let's see, can add it here. Okay, not bad, not bad. That's kind of all I want to take from that picture. So not all pictures we took were for color. Some are for inspiration of the cut and the detailing and maybe an embroidery detail here. So right now we're just looking at color. So I'm looking at this mood board solely for the purpose of extracting colors that I like. Now there's a yellow here. We can add a yellow, but honestly speaking, I haven't really launched yellow in a collection before, so I don't know how it sells. However, I can add it here, a shade. That's too dark. Let's see if I have something else. I can add it. Of course, you are not committed to these colors at this point. We can see what we like after. So I think that's, oh, of course you need, sorry. You need the neutral, so I go ahead and throw in a black in there. Okay, and most likely a white. I can just do that basically by drawing a empty circle here for white. And then in terms of metallics, I see gold. Gold is the main color here, so I wouldn't have this collection with silver embroidery or silver touches. If I do any embroidery, it would be gold. It's a very squeaky marker. But yeah, so that is our gold. So basically, this is what we have now as a color story beginning. Now, oh, you can see me in the reflection. Okay. Anyway, sticking to the topic, these are the colors we have come up with from extracting, these are the colors we have come up with extracting from the mood board. So now the next step for this is to take these colors and put them online, and not online, but to take them to our digital mood board and see which colors we're keeping and which ones we are not keeping. So actually, you guys, before we go and take these colors online, I do still want to edit them a bit because there are some colors I know that I will not be using. So I don't think the yellows are going to be working. I'm not going to keep them. I'm not gonna bother taking them and putting them online, on the digital mood board, because that's just gonna confuse me. One of these corals needs to go. I think the lighter coral will stay, and I will get rid of the darker coral. This has to go. That's not good. And I do think this one needs to go. Okay. So now these are the colors I'm considering a bit more seriously. Out of the blues, let me see. I do like the turquoise. That becomes very dull, if you can see. That becomes, everything is in one tone. I like the pop of turquoise. That might be okay. What I am thinking while I'm doing this is just colors that look good together, but there's still a level of variation amongst them. Because for me, as I said, my brand, I tend to do more colorful collections, so I am looking to have a balance of bright, pastel. I'm looking basically for a wide range of colors, but still colors that look cohesive together. So we know black, white, and gold is going to stay. I like maroon. I like this magenta and bright coral. I like this lighter peach. Maybe the baby pink could go. Let's see. But then these three colors look very similar. So maybe the pink is needed and one of these needs to go. Let's say I remove the pink here. That could work. So now we have a pink, a peach, a coral, and a magenta. And then we have 4 blue shades, and we have the 3 classics. I think that's pretty well balanced. And now I can take these colors and put them on the mood board. So let's move to the computer now. Okay, guys, so now we have pulled up the mood board that we created last time with all the pictures. And now I will probably just rearrange things a little bit and make room for adding the colors. Let's see, I make this a little smaller. Guys, the program I am using is Adobe Illustrator. I feel like I do need to make a video exclusively on how to use this program. It is one of the most useful tools as a designer to have and invest in. So definitely this is something you guys need, and it's very easy to use. I will be teaching you how to use it. For now, if you don't have Illustrator, you can also put these pictures on Paint or something, but it is quite difficult. I need to think of another solution for that. But if, let's say you don't have either, and you don't want to do things digitally, that is also why I'm showing you how to do things manually. So that's why we have here we also have the printed mood board, and then we do the physical color story, and I have just blocked out the colors that we are not going to be using. So Oh, I forgot to block out the coral. Okay then, 1 minute. Okay, so yes, I have blocked out the colors we are not going to be using. So if you do not have Illustrator and you don't know how to use Illustrator and you don't have any other program that can be suitable for putting pictures together with colors, you can do it manually. There is no problem with that. So I have the color story here and I have my mood board here, so that you can just stick in your sketchbook and you can be ready to go. I'm just going to show you how I take it to the computer because that's the way I do things. And I do recommend you look into getting Adobe Illustrator as a tool for you if you are seriously considering being a designer. So now, let's start with the color. So all I did was I took this tool here, which is the square tool, and I created a square. And now I'm going to fill that square in with a color that I think matches my physical mood board the best. So now, there are two ways you can do this actually. So you can take your square and you can take the eyedropper and you can find that exact blue that you want. I eyedropped it over here by the, on this fan that she has, and I have come up with this blue. So now I'll just copy that. I do think this blue is a little more dull than I wanted, so then I just double click and I can, you know, change the intensity of this blue. Oops, sorry. Can change the intensity of the blue. So I know from my paper here, I'm just gonna put that here, that I have quite a vivid blue. Then I have a dusty blue, so let's do that. A more like sky blue color. I'm gonna open some swatch books here. So we have all the colors that you could want here. I am going to take one of the colors that best matches this color right now. That I think that's a nice one. It's like a periwinkle color almost. It's really nice. Okay, then we have the next one. I'm gonna copy paste this box again. And we have a duller blue, like a more denim, or it's not a denim blue, it's like a teal blue almost. It has a little bit of green in it. So that might be nice. Let's see if there's something else. So while you guys are building the color story, you can also be thinking about what you think these colors can be used for. For example, would this make a nice, you know, is this a nice color for a kaftan? Maybe it's a nice experimental color for an abaya. As you start building the color story, it should be sparking in you some ideas about where these colors can be used. And also, I like to think about skin tone versus colors. So I want to choose colors that are flattering for a wide range of people. So I also think about that when I'm choosing the exact shade and undertone of the color. For example, neon is difficult for many people to wear. So I tend not to go for something like that. I tend to go for colors that, you know, are more flattering to people. So I think these are the blue shades that we have that we liked. They seem to be going well with, you know, parts of the mood board. On to the peach. Let's see. Let's try to find something that's peach. That, again, is too pinky. Like, this is the stage where we're quite picky about what shade. There are so many shades of peach and pink that you can go for, but finding that exact one, that's a nice one, I think. Again, this is just preliminary. We can still eliminate colors along the way. Like, the process of design is always, you always have to edit, you always have to adjust based on how things are actually turning out in reality. So it's all good on the computer, but when you start looking for fabrics and you're not finding that shade, or you're seeing that it's not really going very well with the other things that you have in mind, that's when you can kind of edit and take out or adjust a tone or two. So yeah. Now, so I did the coral, the bright coral color. I want to find a really nice magenta. Magenta used to be my favorite color growing up. Oh my God, I wanted everything magenta. I was known as like the magenta girl. So funny. Okay, I think that's a nice tone. I can so picture this magenta being so nice in a silk, like, especially in this inspiration, since it is like China and things like fabrics like silk are used. To have this magenta color in a silk would be so nice. So that is quite exciting. Now the neutral colors, I'm just gonna make them a bit smaller because we all know it's black and white. I like to keep black and white in a collection. I may not use it in the end, but I keep it on the mood board just to be kind of a reference point. And then gold as the accent color. So when you think about accent colors, I mainly think about what I will be using as a metallic in the collection. So will I be having this collection be more silver based or gold based? I think based on the inspiration and being that it's China and this like beautiful embroidery and everything, gold is more fitting. So I'm just gonna put gold there in the corner as an accent color. So what you can go ahead and do is label these colors, and then that is the color story of your collection. Officially our color story. So this is where we are at now. You can see the mood board pictures and the colors. I have a total of what is it? 8, 9, 10, 11 color. Well, 10 colors and 1 gold metallic. I think these colors are very nice. I think they're flattering. I think they're interesting together. They can be mixed and matched. And I'm excited to see what we come up with. And the mood board, I am very curious to see what kind of sketches I'm going to be able to come up with about this, but there are so many details that are interesting in this. And we will be discussing how to take this and what we have on the computer onto the sketchbook. So that lesson will be lesson number 3, which will be from notebook to sketchbook. That's going to be the title, and I will explain more about that in the next video. So stay tuned. I hope you guys learned something today with the colors. I know my process can maybe feel a little bit long because I do things like the traditional way and then take it onto the computer. But as a beginner, I think it's important to kind of build that relationship of being creative and doing something enjoyable rather than just sitting on the computer and doing the process. Of course, as time goes on, you will do that. I do, sometimes just do all my work on the computer. But to go back to the roots and to go back to using colors and things like that, that really brings out another side of your creativity. And I think that is important to share with you. So, and it's fun. I mean, I got to cut and color. When do you get to do that nowadays? So it's good, it's fun. And I am really excited for the next step, which we'll finally get into designing a little bit. So the next lesson is pretty important into how to turn this stage of things into physical clothing. So I can't wait for next time, and I will see you guys in a bit. Bye.